in St. Louis. Joel Myers and Larry Conway, guys.
Thank you, Dan, and welcome to the Kiel Center. In the heartland, the Missouri Valley Conference. Evansville, the number 1 seed, matching up with the number 2 seed, the Creighton Bluejays. And it is all even at 11. In fact, 9 of the first 11, Larry, for Evansville, owned by Craig Snow, the sophomore from Mount Carmel, Illinois. And what a story he's become very early.
Yeah, one of those guys that you're going to watch see play tonight that you're going to really enjoy. This guy is 6'7" and about 220. Number 3 in the Missouri Valley Conference in three-point shooting, a little over 46%. Outstanding player. He's not the best player on this Evansville squad. Marcus Wilson, who was the player of the year. On the other side, Creighton's got a great one, and Rodney Buford, who's averaging 19 a game. He is the number 3 scorer in the league. So a couple of high-powered offenses tonight. Man, you just saw that frustration on the conference player of the year, Marcus Wilson, heading over to the bench. He's out. Seitz is back in, one of the starters at the guard spot for Jim Cruz. And problems bringing it in, and it's taken away. Ben Walker, who's got 6 of the first 11 for the Blue Jays, finding Ronnie Buford. And Buford, tough break. Bagley, the only 2 besides the 9 for Snow, owned by Evansville. As Bagley came up with that rebound. This Evansville team is such a great shooting club. When you're 3rd in the nation in shooting and 3rd in field free throw percentage, you know you're good.
Bagley didn't have it going yesterday in the semifinals, but fortunately in the championship game, he's got it going now. He's got 5 off the bench, and Evansville has their very first lead of the contest.
So coming into this game, Bagley was 1 for 10 in the tournament, and now he's got a steal.
The takeaway, trying to save it. Walker will let it go. What a valiant effort, though, by Kyle Runyon. Runyon laying out the sophomore from Fairmont, Indiana. There's no lack of effort. We talked about it very early that these 2 teams like to get into the 80s and never stop running.
Watch this good hustle right here. Bagley comes up with the basketball, throws it to the other end of the floor. You'll see Runyon trying to run it down, and a pretty good move there by Ben Walker to screen him away from the ball. Might have gotten our camera guy, though.
Very rarely will they take it inside 10 on the shot clock as Buford had it poked away, and it looked like Bagley had all ball, but he draws the foul.
Good turn in there by Buford. Rodney Buford's one of those type of guys, very explosive, very quick on the inside. At 6'5", plays the 3 spot, and that's pretty small for a major college player that far inside.
Evansville 3rd in the nation in field goal percentage at better than 51%, 63% so far. They're also 3rd in the nation in free throw percentage. So you're not going to fluster them down the stretch if you send them to the free throw line.
No, you're not going to bother the University of Evansville. The Purple Aces are very strong with the charity stripe. They love going there. You know, really, this is kind of a throwback to a club in the 60s, Joel. I mean, really good movement on the basketball team on offense. They're all good shooters. Talked about that earlier, the fact that they've got like 5, 6, 7 guys that can really shoot the ball.
And this is our retro game of championship week. Both these teams love to run the motion offense, keep the players all over the floor.
Saw a picture of Jim Cruz right there. He's done an awfully good job with this Purple Aces club.
14th year at Evansville, Larry.
23 wins this year. Pressure again by Creighton.
Broken easily. Bagley trying to take it strong to the hole, and it's intercepted by Ben Walker.
Walker's having a terrific first half so far on both ends.
Sears very quiet offensively after a big game yesterday. Buford trying to find it, and the rebound pulled down by Henny, who just checked in. Chuck Henny.
Yeah, good player. Nice one off the bench. Evansville's got about 3 or 4 guys they can pull off of there.
Keon, another one that's just off the bench, who can handle the point guard duties.
Yeah, and they don't drop off much in production when those guys come off.
They're ready to get Snow back in momentarily, as well as Marcus Wilson.
You don't want the snow to melt over there right now.
Runyon won't touch that, partner. And Ben Walker, one of the best rebounding guards in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Johnson.
All the way is Johnson. He beat the other big men down the floor, but couldn't finish.
Well, Sears made a great pass, too, underneath. Those ones you like to have back.
Man, that's what Donnie Johnson had in the semifinal win over Southwest Missouri State. 2 early ones just like that. Keon, again, another miss from the three-point line. Evansville will still go from three-point territory. Big man out there already has a three-pointer. Swenson for Creighton.
Watch the movement, a little high post to Swenson. They'll use the cut off of there, and then Swenson goes to the wing and screens. That time Buford didn't use it.
And Buford in trouble. Walker for 3.
He's hot.
Ben Walker coming off a career best 23 in the semifinal win yesterday, has 9 already.
Walker is the one guy for Creighton that they're depending on today. On the other side, Craig Snow for Evansville.
Runyon bangs one home from three-point land.
I tell you, this club is shooting over 40% from beyond the arc. It's very tough to go out there and try to guard him that far out.
Kyle Runyon, 5-point average coming in, the sophomore of his first bucket of the game, and gives Evansville a 1-point lead again.
Triple screen down underneath that time for Buford as he came to the top. Hand check.
Buford, 3-time first-team All-Valley for Dana Altman. He's in his 5th year at Creighton, improving with their record every year he has been there.
It's offense, and we're going to talk about this a lot tonight as you watch them work. Now, high on the angle right here. Watch the Creighton offense. You can see the back cut right here by Buford going across the floor. Now, once the double screen is set right there, he comes and pops out. Now he makes the maneuver into the angle, into the lane, and that's when the foul occurred. They'll do that a lot for him because he's an excellent shooter coming off of those screens.
Rodney Buford, just the 11th player in Valley history to cross the 2,000-point plateau. Takes his first break of the game. 3-time All-Conference first team. Dan Walker, the young man with the ball right now, though. The hot hand. He's got 9 of the first 16 for Creighton in this 1-point ball game.
He is no gentle Ben tonight. He is all over the floor.
Coach told us earlier today, Dana Altman, he's really come on. The last 10 games have been super aggressive. His sights almost comes up with a steal. Walker retrieves it, though. Inside of 10. First time the shot clock has been that far down. Donnie Johnson rejected. And the frustration foul. Craig Snow's got it done in the offensive end. Back in off the last time out with the block and draws the foul.
Kwame James with a nice block defensively on the inside. This is a young man that's had the flu over the weekend. He only played 14 minutes on Saturday against Illinois State, 10 minutes on Sunday against Bradley. They get very little offense out of him, Joel, but he is a very good defensive player, as we just saw.
Partner, this could be a very long first half. Swenson checks back in, the big man, taking over for Carla Conovis. He sits down, and I bring that up because the rest of the way, Snow and his teammates for the Aces of Evansville, they're going to the free throw line.
You don't want to put those guys there too often.
Number 3 in the nation at the stripe on the season, hitting almost 78%. What a stroke.
Look at that form. Bends the knees, good release, the good follow through. It's all there.
Told you it's our retro show. We do it in black and white. It looks like we're back in time.
They got the right announcers for it.
They got the right shirts, don't they? Snow with a couple of free throws, and he's got 11. The 19 for the Purple Aces.
Evansville doesn't come out of this man-to-man defense very often.
Plenty of movement without the ball from both sides.
There's that double down again against Swenson.
Take it away from Swenson, but they can't save it. It'll still belong to the Bluejays of Creighton. Creighton, the number 2 seed. The number 1 seed, the regular season champs, the Purple Aces of Evansville, coming in at 23-8. Dana Altman squad, 20-8. First time in a long time they've gotten to 20 wins.
A little conversation going on right now between the big man inside. Doug Swenson's having a conversation with Kwame James, and the officials are right in the middle of it.
Corey Brandon triggers the inbound series. And they need to use a 20-second timeout.
Well, is that great defense by the Purple Aces?
Creighton is playing in the Missouri Valley Conference Championship game for the first time since '91. Their 5th time overall. They've taken 4 of their previous 5 appearances. So plenty of success, but the first time, as I mentioned, since '91. Championship week presented by 7-Up, continuing later this evening, midnight Eastern. I've done this one a lot, and what a fun time at Toso Pavilion. Santa Clara taking on Gonzaga. The West Coast Conference Championship game coming up at midnight tonight. Right here on ESPN Championship Week presented by 7-Up. And you can log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, Go.com, to keep up with everything that's developing on ESPN this week.
Now that time Corey Brandon was able to get the ball in. Evansville showing pretty good defensive work so far.
Swenson with a break. Brandon, shot clock at 4. And Wilson will let it go out of bounds. Heads up play by the senior from South Bend. Wonder how he got away from Notre Dame, Marcus Wilson. Missouri Valley's player of the year, 20-point average, hitting 50% of his shots from the field.
More importantly, over 47% from three-point range.
Sight sits down. Stanton working out of the backcourt now with Keon.
Creighton Looks like they're in a matchup zone. Nope, they're in the 1-4 chaser again.
Small lineup with Wilson out there, almost like a 3-guard set.
See Brandon out there. He's chasing Wilson on the outside. The other 4 guys are playing zone.
With shadow, Snow's available. Kwame James forces it. Good defense by Swenson. Ryan Sears, they need him to get it going offensively. The point guard, who averages just about double figures, to go along with 4 assists a game. Evansville was down a couple of times early. We picked this game up in progress on ESPN after the win by Siena in the MAC championship. Sears for 3. And Keon battled, but Kwame James takes it away.
James giving them good minutes tonight, Joel, with that flu.
He only played 24. Snow's there. He'll go to the line looking for the 3-point play. Unselfish basketball continues for the Purple Aces.
The snowman continues to get it done. I mean, he is everywhere on the floor. Take a look upstairs. You watch Keon come in, drop the pass down inside, and there's his favorite target. Boy, Craig Snow is everywhere tonight. Keon again with another great pass.
He's already met his average, Larry, 13 points. He had a career best 28 Saturday, the quarterfinal win. The 28 included 6 3-pointers. A rarity. He missed a free throw. He's already hit 3 at the strike. 5-point lead, though, for Evansville, their biggest. Buford back into the game.
Well, they double down on him every time he gets the ball.
Deflected. Snow got over in time. Stanton, the trailer is Wilson for 3. A little bit too strong. Will it be saved? Kwame James gets it, but what an effort by Stanton. Snow for 3. They're never timid beyond the arc.
No, they're not. It's going to go up. You find the opening, the little sliver of light is going to go.
Sears, the trailer, and the putback, and a beauty at that by Chuck Eddy.
Well,
that was Justin Haynes off the bench.
Terrific play by Haynes on the follow.
Keon, this time jump by Buford, but Ben Walker was on the opposite side of the weak side to help him out.
Evansville not shooting the ball as well from 3-point range as they usually do.
Swenson already has 1 3-pointer. Walker for 3. And a rebounding foul on Buford, trying to slap it away. Coming over the back. So Rodney Buford, the junior from Milwaukee, 41 points away from becoming the Blue Jays' all-time leading scorer.
And already now Evansville into the 1-1.
So Marcus Wilson still looking for his first points of the game. The conference player of the year will go to the stripe. He's only 90% of the free throw line. Of course, a rarity in this day and age when you see a group, the collective, doing as well as this group does from the line and from the field. That's all I had to talk about.
You did it to him.
I could stop let's go to Fairmont Park just across the river after the game. We can stop a horse in its tracks. Buford and Wilson got there late, picking up the foul.
Probably a pretty good thing he picked up the foul because it was a nice move by Buford backing up and draining the jumper.
Timeout on the floor. Both teams getting up and down like sprint horses, 6 furlong speed balls. A 3-point lead for the Purple Aces.
The studio, the Northeast Conference title game, Mount St. Mary's in Central Connecticut State. Eric Bethel, who was the hero for the Mount in the semifinals with a game-winning shot, hits here as Mount St. Mary's leads by 3. Now, let's head back to Joel and Larry.
All right, Larry, in a 3-point lead for the Purple Aces. Well, Creighton's doing everything they can to shut down Marcus Wilson.
Yeah, they are. They're using a little bit of a junk defense right now, Joel. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Look at Corey Brandon right here. He's chasing that player right there, and that guy, of course, is Marcus Wilson. Now, the other 4 guys are playing zone. Now, watch him go right through the paint area. He goes right with him. Now, stop it right there. See the 4 guys right here? They're all 4 playing zone defense. Now, continue through and watch again. You'll see him, Wilson come right through the paint area. The other 4 guys keep playing zone. A nice job in there and a good defense. Corey Brandon chasing Marcus Wilson.
Well, they've been able to shut out Wilson. He's got 1 foul, no points so far, but they've not been able to shut down Craig Snow, who's got 13 points. 13 so far for Evansville. So Purple Aces, 44% from the field, 32% for the Blue Jays of Creighton. Neither team can get it going from 3-point range, though. Evansville 2 of 9, Creighton 3 of 9. Sears very quiet, the young man with the ball. Walker's lit it up early, but he's been shut down over the last 5. Buford for 3, on target.
That's
Rodney Buford.
Yeah, that's the man they want. Number 3 scorer in the Missouri Valley Conference. Great score, very explosive.
7 points so far for Buford. Coach told us he's really picked up his rebounding this year. He's done the little things well.
Now they've got Hayes chasing Wilson. See him cut across the lane right there. Hayes with him. The other 4 guys playing zone.
Buford's forgot about Craig Snow, though. He went to sleep on the baseline. And Snow is going to go back to the free throw line. Foul on Swenson, helping out.
You know, Joe, I can understand somewhat why they're trying to put the defense on Marcus Wilson. He's had 31 and 28 in the 2 games against Creighton this year. They feel like if they can stop him, they can stop everybody. But they better get to Craig Snow. He's the guy that's hurting them right now.
He's really running the baseline well.
And they're finding him.
In that case, and we've seen it before, they're losing their depth perception defensively because they forgot about Snow. And he has missed his last 2 free throws. That is strange for Craig Snow.
You know, I can understand Dana Altman's thinking about this defensively. If you've got to stop the big scorer, the guy you got to go after is Marcus Wilson. But it's been Snow that's been hurting him so far.
Kardakonovich coming in for the Blue Jays. Runyon taking it over for Keon for Evansville. And Snow barely drew iron as Bagley batted it out of bounds. It'll belong to the Creighton Blue Jays. Good minutes off the bench. He hasn't done anything offensively, but Justin Haynes has done a nice job so far for Dana Altman, the sophomore from Sterling, Nebraska. Both coaches right now just trying to find the right combinations.
Yeah, right now they're in a straight Evansville straight man-to-man. Good help.
Buford again. That time Long on his 3-point attempt. Haynes tipped it out of bounds, but they're going to say it was last touch, and that's what I mean. He kept it alive, and it was last touch. Down low by Hetty.
So it's been a little unusual tonight to watch these 2 Cubs play. As we look at Dana Altman, his 5th season at Creighton. Nice record of 74 and 67. Came over from Kansas State after spending 4 years over there.
Bagley had it deflected. It saved, but right to Snow.
Thought maybe these clubs would be scoring at a little higher clip.
Both right around 40% from the floor, and below that for Creighton so far. Just about 14 minutes gone by. Even at 21. Snow.
Ben Walker now has responsibility for Wilson.
Snow on line, but a little bit long, and Stanton was coming up at the back of Sears. He can't believe the call.
You know what? I thought he went up and got a clean rebound.
So did Jim Cruz. First foul on Stanton. 15 foul. Jim Cruz in his 14th season, the Valley Conference Coach of the Year. Such a great tradition in the Missouri Valley. Creighton and other teams that have departed since, but in the 60s, into the 70s. St. Louis University along with Louisville, Drake, Bradley, Cincinnati, Oscar Robertson's days there. Haynes drawing the foul from Snow. Earns a trip to the free throw line. So Snow a little bit out of position defensively. That is his first.
Looked like he was trying to back away from the shooter that time, and he got caught in an orthodox position.
Make that the 2nd foul, in fact, on Craig Snow. Got into foul trouble. So we update you on other games championship week. Semifinals of the Mid-Continent. Oral Roberts already a winner tonight by 14 over Youngstown State. And a game that we just saw, Siena on their way to the NCAA Tournament, beating St. Peter's by 15.
That's a good record. Good year for Siena. 25-5. These 2 clubs can't make their free throws tonight. They came into this game shooting 77 and 70%.
Haynes with a couple of misses there for Creighton, with an opportunity to give them their first lead in some time. Dry spell, though, for the Purple Aces. Better than 3 minutes without a point.
Troy Brandon back again on Wilson.
Very similar to what we see from the Indiana Hoosiers. A motion offense, plenty of rubs, especially around the high post. Runyon for 3. Snow kept it alive with Bagley. Buford went after it, and Wilson is hammered by Sears, and Sears picks up the foul. Not for lack of effort.
Well, Marcus Wilson's going to get a chance to go to the free throw line, but he was right at midcourt that time, and Sears just ran right into him.
Little guy picks up his second foul.
Yeah, watch the slap out, the tap out right here. Marcus Wilson, the opportunistic position right there at midcourt, gets fouled by Sears.
Will it be the first point of the game? Yes. First point of the title game for the Conference Player of the Year, Marcus Wilson, averaging 20 a contest.
Ian Rodney Buford. Buford, the number 3 scorer in this league. You can see what they've done so far in this first half. Buford getting the better of it.
And both players over the 2,000 point mark. Only 12 players in conference history have been able to accomplish that. And we've got 2 on the floor tonight. The 2 you were just looking at, Buford and Marcus Wilson. Donnie Johnson asking for it down low. The weak side help was there. They couldn't go with the lob.
Stanton came from the backside.
Brandon very quiet offensively. Hasn't looked for the shot.
And Johnson has to come out from that low post position to help.
Inside of 10 of the shot clock. Brandon looking for help. Karlikonovas wide open.
He can make that shot.
Yes.
Karlikonovas is an excellent shooter.
Different looking rotation, but he'll take it.
It's that Lithuanian look.
It's tied at 23. Most of the European players do like to spot up outside. Karlikonovas will go inside for them like he did yesterday in the semifinals with a couple of nice drives. The southpaw comes out to help with the offense. Karlikonovas. Buford, NBA three-point land. Yes!
Oh, that's
Rodney
a big
Buford warming up.
I'll tell you, these two clubs can really shoot the basketball. We haven't seen much evidence of it so far this night, but they can rack them up when they want to.
10 points for Buford in the win over Southwest Missouri State by 8, 78-70 in the semis yesterday. Buford got it going late. Creighton had it going early, and Marcus Willison finally gets his first basket of the game.
Yeah, that was a nice move that time. Corey Brandon once again tracking him, his shadow all night long when he's in the game. But this time Marcus Wilson got the better of that matchup. See, everybody else is playing zone. Look, he doesn't even see the ball. Good screen by Hetty right there as he comes off of the screen, puts the ball down, goes baseline quick. Brandon couldn't get there. Nice move by Wilson.
And the three-point play for Marcus Wilson. So 5 points in the last 30 seconds for the Conference Player of the Year, as Evansville has tied it up at 26.
In the studio, updating the Mid-Continent semis. Western Illinois and Valparaiso. Valpo down 3. Terrence Price trying to beat the clock. Time ticking down, and the price is right. Tied at 36. The winner gets Oral Roberts in the finals. You'll get Digger and myself at the half.
We are also all even here at the Missouri Valley Conference Championship game at the Kiel Center in St. Louis, tied at 26, not 36. Championship week presented by 7-Up continues on the Deuce. It's the AT&T Big East Conference Tournament. In the first round, Seton Hall, Notre Dame. That all begins at 11 a.m. on the Deuce. Later that night at 7:30 Eastern, Georgetown and Providence. That is all coming your way on Wednesday. Atlantic 10, St. Joseph's. The Hawks taking on the Explorers of LaSalle. Also on the Deuce on Championship Week, 9:30 Eastern on Wednesday. Great college basketball on ESPN and ESPN2. Log on to go.com.
This is the best week. I mean,
always.
You know, until you get to the championship round, obviously that's important. That's the most important part of the year. But this is a great week.
And the best part of it all, it's only Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
3 minutes left in the first 20. We thought we'd have a close game. It is tied at 26. Thought they'd get to about 40 by the break, though. Below that right now.
Shooting hasn't been what we expected to see. Of course, the defense has been a little bit better, too.
Johnson rejected. Hetty got a piece of it. And it belongs, as it was batted out of bounds by the Blue Jays, to the Purple Aces. So Chuck Hetty doing a good job defensively off the bench for Jim Cruz. He's a freshman from Vincennes, Indiana.
Talking to Dana Altman today about his basketball team. He says, we went through a drought. He said from about the first week of January for the 4 weeks after that, all we want to do is play offense.
Wilson short, Snow on the weak side, going around Karlikonovas. And they're going to say that he wrapped an arm around, and they're calling an offensive foul for that wrap.
Yeah, they're going to get him for a hook. Craig Snow tried to make that baseline move, was going to make a pass. He had a wide open player on the other side that was a teammate, but he couldn't get it to him because he hooked the defender.
Second foul on Craig Snow. 90% of the way, making about 99.9% of the way. It's been straight man. Weak side help. Stanton does air regular. Comes over to help the big guys.
Nice job that time by Jeremy Stanton to get inside and slap that one away. Now he handles it outside.
Sure doesn't look for the offense much, though.
No, he doesn't. But he's #1 in this league in assists. He can deliver the ball.
They're asking him to shoot. He won't. Petty all alone and rejected by Johnson, who prevents an automatic deuce. Not a bad foul if you're not in foul trouble to begin with. It's his second.
Kyle Runyon with a bullet pass down there in that spacing. Watch this now. Runyon just reached up and drilled it right in there. Good pass. Petty went up, got fouled. He'll have a couple at the line.
So Chuck Petty, 6'8", 215-pound freshman, finding the open space in the paint. Misses the first of two, only 76% of the line. That's low for this squad. Making Bagley back in. Also in Justin Haynes for the Blue Jays. Snow sits down.
So there are a lot of numbers that jumped off of the screen for me today when I was looking at this basketball team, Evansville. And one of them is the fact that they averaged 19 assists a game. That is a lot of assists for a game.
Unselfish. They definitely share the basketball. 1 point lead for the Purple Aces as Hetty gets one of two. Let's see what happens to the offense, though, now that Snow is on the bench. 90 seconds left in the half. Kardakanovic double team. He likes the three-pointer. As I mentioned, not much rotation, not much spin on that shot. Almost like a knuckleball.
See Wilson and Buford battling out there about 15 feet from the basket. Good pass again.
Super pass. Hetty had it knocked away from behind. Good recovery by Buford to help out, but you're right. They're sharing the basketball. The 7-up halftime report coming up. Larry Beal will check in. Minute 14 left here. Talk about more tourney bids going out to teams like Siena. It's taken away in the inbound series.
We'll take a little look at Conference USA, too, the breakdown in Conference USA. And of course, we're in the home of one of the towns within that conference, St. Louis University.
So much speculation with the Missouri Valley Conference with a great year. 7 teams better than the 500 mark. Deserve and should get 3 teams in the tournament. The floater by Walker. Runyon gets it after Bagley kept it alive. Wilson in the transition. And he gets it with the spin off the window.
That's exactly what he did. He spun the ball off of the glass. That guy must be a great pool shooter.
Heads up play because he was a real acute angle, tough angle underneath the basket. Back to a 3-point lead. Creighton's been quiet for so long at the offensive end. 8 seconds the difference. Shot clock and game clock. What an effort by Runyon. But it goes to Brandon. Great look. And a perfect pass over to Justin Hayes with an easy finish. And a 20 is going to be taken. 12.5 seconds left in the half. Jim Cruz can't take that 20 with him to the next half. So he'll use it here.
Might as well use it up. That's exactly right.
Well, both teams a little bit below what we anticipated from the floor, right at 40%. Both very disappointing, though, from three-point land. It's a 1-point lead for the Purple Aces.
But Joe, would you consider the fact that Evansville lost 90-80 to Creighton and came back and beat them 84-79? You expected a game somewhere in the 80s or 90s here tonight, but either one of these clubs have been shooting the ball very well, and the defense has been much, much better. I think it's very typical of what happens in tournament time. You start to see clubs start to play a little bit more half court. They're not as wide open. Get a little more conservative with your offense. I think we've seen a little bit of that tonight.
Well, Creighton with a super RPI because Creighton won at home over Oklahoma State. Won on the road at Iowa, beating a Big Ten team, beating that Big 12 team I mentioned at home. Not a great non-conference schedule for Jimmy Cruz's squad, but they're figuring that Southwest Missouri State, which has a better RPI, as Wilson can't get it, and he does. They should be able to get 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that more in the second half, but a nice finish for the Purple Aces of Evansville, the regular season conference champions, trying to finish the regular season at 24-8. It's halftime in St. Louis. A 3-point lead for the Purple Aces, 31-28 over the Blue Jays. Back to the studio and Larry Beal.
All right, thanks, Joel, along with Digger Phelps here. And we heard Joel talking about how many teams from the conference go in. Creighton, the school that gave us Benoit Benjamin years ago. The selectors won't hold that against them, however, we hope, if they need an at-large bid. But talk about the strength of the conference because they're ranked ahead 8th best conference in the country, ahead of some leagues that you think, oh, 8,
Very
10?
simple. I mean, right now they're the 8th best conference in the country in the RPI. 9 is the Atlantic 10, 10 is the WAC, and then 11 is the Mid-American. So when you look at both of these teams playing tonight, they've won against each other at each home court. And that to me is why this game's so good right now. They know each other. They've won against each other at home. Losing at home really gives you that mindset, I got to beat these guys. And that's what I think when you see Jimmy Cruz with the lead at halftime. This team is solid, but don't count out what you're going to see in the second half when you take a look at Creighton. I'll never forget their win when they beat Iowa back in December at Iowa. You thought they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have some quality wins, and that'll help them should they need an at-large berth. 7-Up halftime report is coming up next. The Saints of Siena trying to go marching into the big dance. We'll see if they can do it coming up.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up. Are you in on? And in part by First Union, your guide to the financial world.
Finish up. Lakers and Suns get it on. Vinny Testaverde, what a deal he signed. And Sammy Sosa's in camp. Ready for baseball, Digger? I hope so.
Jamie Moyer.
Family Relations halftime report presented by 7-Up. Second half next.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of Championship Week is brought to you by Toyota. Get the most out of your day every day.
Back at the Kiel Center in St. Louis, it's the championship game of the Missouri Valley Conference. The top 2 seeds, number 1, Evansville, with a 3-point lead over the Bluejays of Creighton, 31-28. Joel Myers along with Larry Conley. Welcome back to the Kiel Center. Both teams real sluggish, especially behind the 3-point line. In fact, Evansville with only 40%, third best in the nation, better than 51% of the season. Fortunately for them, Craig Snow had it going early. Buford got it going late for Creighton.
Joe, they did. Let's take a look in the first half. We'll show you some of the highlights of these two players who were the leading scorers for their individual clubs. Watch Craig Snow doing it on the inside mostly. He had 13 points in the first half. They find a way to get the ball to him, and once he gets it down inside, he is deadly. Look at that nice pass inside. Now, once he makes himself available there, watch him also work at getting the ball offensively and doing it on his own when he's set up on a one-on-one situation. Nice move here. Go to the baseline, turn around with a good jump shot. Buford, Rodney, 10 points in that first half. Did a terrific job. Watch this move on the outside, catching the ball. You can see one of his threes right here going down the bottom of the net, and something Creighton did fairly well in the first half, 5 of 14 for 35%. Let's take a look at the stats.
And surprisingly, Larry, both teams very good from beyond the 3-point line, but they couldn't get it done beyond the arc in the first half. Only 2 of 11 for the Purple Aces. And on the season, this team hits 41%. They were at 18% in the first 20 minutes of play. The Creighton Bluejays, 5 of 14 beyond the arc. There's an easy opportunity to start the second half for Evansville. Goes away.
Good blocking there by Johnson.
Johnson gets it at the opposite end. Johnson runs the floor well.
He doesn't.
Not that tall a guy, but he really has the good footwork.
Well, consider the fact he starts the second half with a good block, goes down, gets the basket on the other end, and now Creighton's within 1.
Kwame James tries to answer. Taken away by Ryan Sears. The little guy helping out on the, turned out to be a triple team.
Johnson once again down inside.
1-point ball game. Creighton started the contest with a big early lead. Twice they led by 5. Losing the handle, it was poked away by Marcus Wilson, picked up by Kwame James. Swenson on his back. It'll be a tied-up situation. And it belongs to Creighton on the alternating possession arrow.
Pretty good job that time defensively by Kwame James to go out there and get on the floor. Swenson going over to tie him up. And James is going to go out of the game. We remind you again, in the first half, I said that this young man has had the flu all weekend and has had very limited minutes in playing time this weekend.
He only had 24 minutes, in fact, over the first 2 games, the quarterfinals and the semis, Saturday and Sunday here at the Kiel Center. Johnson.
He might have gotten tripped or blocked.
That'll be the third on Snow. Snow sat out a good 8 to 8.5 minutes down the stretch. Only came back for the final 2.5, the semifinals yesterday, because he picked up his 4th foul very early in the second half.
Joel, on both clubs in the first half, only 5 players scored for each team.
And we want to send our best wishes to a young man in Omaha, 17-year-old DJ Sokol, who is a big fan of the Creighton Bluejays, and they're as big a fan of his. Undergoing chemotherapy treatment, and he is battled. And he is pulling big time for the Bluejays as they get another try at the offensive end. But our best to DJ Sokol.
Buford with a nice move inside. Good duck in and a good follow.
Buford wouldn't quit on the play. 1 point lead for the Blue Jays. They've got the first 4 of the second half, and Seitz trapped again. Good grab by Snow. Now what pressure defense? They're going to call the reach on Sears. Is that his second or third? Ryan Sears picking up the foul. It is his third. They can't afford to lose him. Dana Altman knows what he means to his squad.
Kind of funny. He thought that Sears thought he had gotten away with one. He kind of ducked underneath his shirt to try to hide.
So 2 real keys, Sears and Snow, with 3 already. Well, Snow sits down.
We heard Dana Altman talk about his player today, Ryan Sears. He says, we need him on the floor. He's got to be out there. He is our staple.
Eddie checking in. So they lose so much offense with Snow on the bench. That means the man with the ball just got rid of it. Marcus Wilson has to pick it up. He did down the stretch over the final 5 minutes of the first half.
Creighton continues to play that boxing chaser again.
Seitz was shut out yesterday and gets a 3-pointer. His first points of the contest. 2-point lead for the Purple Aces. Donnie Johnson can't finish. Eddie called the foul.
Donnie Johnson having a good start to the second half.
Does Evansville and Jim Crew's squad need to win this game to get to the tournament? Because I think it's a rock-solid threesome going to the NCAA tournament from this conference. Your thoughts, though, because I include these 2 along with Southwest Missouri State.
Well, I agree with that because I think all 3 clubs certainly are eligible to get in there. Creighton has a little bit better winning percentage against ranked clubs than the other 2 clubs do. Evansville's RPI a little bit lower than the other 2 teams, but certainly with their record at 23-8 and the fact that they won the Missouri Valley Conference this year, that's got to put them in pretty good stead with the committee.
Sears sits down with 3 fouls. You bring up Southwest Missouri State. What they did against the University of Missouri, a team that's going to go to the NCAA tournament, a win over Big Brother, the Missouri Tigers. 3 for 3. Ben Walker, who was red hot over the first 10 minutes, has 12 so far, hitting that 3-pointer. Great pass to Eddie from Wilson, and Donnie Johnson picking up the foul. That is his third.
Joel, I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with the way Marcus Wilson plays. The fact that he's not scoring tonight, he only had 7 in the first half, he's still finding open players. He's making good passes. The rest of his game is not hurt by the fact that he's not scoring.
So often a pure shooter and a pure scorer won't give up the basketball, even when it's not his turn, when things aren't going well, but you're right.
Eddie made a nice move down there, and he got him the ball right in the right position.
Eddie has missed a couple at the free throw line. The freshman from Vincennes, Indiana. So many freshmen and sophomores on this squad. Wilson, along with Bagley, the only seniors. Donnie Johnson sitting down with his 3rd personal foul, the junior from Omaha, transferred from State Fair Community College, Sedalia, Missouri. Eddie using the heel to get 1 of 2. 1-point lead for the Blue Jays with the basketball. Nice dribble penetration, drawing the foul. He had Seitz on his hip. Again, Ben Walker, the catalyst.
Walker was hot that first 10 minutes, as you alluded to earlier, but he started off the second half very much like he did in the first half. This is a guy that's really picked it up. Talked about him in the first half, how he has emerged as one of the really key players for this Creighton team.
Well, he is coming off a career best. We talked about it, 23 in the semifinal win yesterday. Swenson, almost a great grab. He wanted to go to the basket before he had the ball.
Let's stand and push.
Seitz just hit a 3-pointer. Wraparound bounce entry. Bagley forces it. Lowered his shoulder. Corey Brandon in the transition. Standing and getting back. He talked about the push at the other end. Got back defensively. Needs help from Hetty. Swenson on the weak side. Did everything but finish after the great pass by Brandon. The reversal to Wilson for 3. Good jump out by Ben Walker in his face.
Terrific play defensively by Walker to make sure he didn't have a good look at the basket.
They're still cold 3 minutes into the second half.
Well, Creighton continues to try to penetrate against that defense, don't they? They push it very deep on that baseline. Joe, one of the things I've noticed about these 2 clubs, they don't turn it over very much. We only had 4 turnovers by each team in the first half. Take good care of the ball. High post screen. Walker with a good cut.
Walker working against Seitz, right around Seitz. He blows easy 5-footer, but stays with it and draws the foul. It'll be Bagley picking it up. Boy, so many second and third chances for Creighton.
How about the work by Ben Walker down inside? You can see Swenson deliver the ball on the high post cut right there. He got open underneath. Seitz is trying to guard him on that baseline. Watch him make this little turn. Little hook with the arm right there. Good elevation, front of the rim, and right back to get his own rebound. You can see the foul committed right there. Begley picked it up on the right arm. So Walker goes to the line.
Blue Jays of Creighton trying to win their first Missouri Valley Conference postseason tourney title since 1991. It's their 6th appearance overall. They've taken 4 of the first 5 of the championship game as Kyle Runyon comes back in, along with Craig Snow working with 3 personal fouls. Begley and Stanton sitting down.
You know, Evansville's a recent member of this conference, coming over from the Midwestern Collegiate Conference, where they dominated over there for a number of years, too.
Couple of free throws for Ben Walker. He'll get a breather. Sears back onto the floor. Energy from Ryan Sears. Also 3 fouls, though, for Ryan Sears.
See Rodney Buford out front. Looks like a 1-2-2 half-court trap. Evansville handles easily. Now they go to a zone. Are they still chasing Wilson? No, straight zone. Looks like a 2-3.
Let's see if Marcus Wilson, who's got the ball right now, can pick it up offensively. Purple Aces are down by 3.
Altman continues to change his defenses.
Runyon, perfect pass to Henny with an easy one.
Joel, that's what I was talking about, those 19 assists per game. That's the reason why, and we just had a violation.
Karlikonovas too anxious to bring it in on the end line, and it goes back to Evansville.
He stepped over the line. Karlikonovas guilty of the infraction, and an easy one now for Evansville to get back underneath their basket again.
You just talked about the lack of turnovers because they aren't beating themselves. Real clean game.
Creighton back in that zone defense again. You can see it on the top of it right there, Rodney Buford. Always nice to have a big guy out front. 6'5", 6'6", long arms, good reach. Makes it tough to make a pass.
Keon trying to draw the foul. Can't get the scoop.
Look at Buford go up and get it. Oh, what a strong rebound.
He was the middleman in that 3-2 matchup zone. The trailer, Karlikonovas.
Good double down again on Buford.
Karlikonovas leaving it off for Haynes. He'll go to the line to shoot 2, Justin Haynes. So because of the foul situation and the way these two teams are getting up and down the floor, both coaches going 9-10 deep with their squads.
Dana Altman talking about Justin Haynes today. He says this guy has been banged up all year. Said he's a really good athlete. Said you'll see him a lot tonight. He'll play a lot for us. Good-looking sophomore out of Sterling, Nebraska. Looks like he's corn-fed.
4 points so far for Justin Haynes. Make it 5. 2-point average on the season. You just talked about the way we haven't seen a lot of turnovers. Both teams possess a lot of ball handlers. And after the miss, the little guy Brandon comes up with the rebound.
Tell me how that happened.
2-point lead, and the Blue Jays have the ball. Karlikonovas.
Oh, what a nice move, huh?
He loves to go to the basket. Most European players want to set up outside.
Yeah, that Lithuanian youngster made a nice move right there.
First corner to play for the Blue Jays of Creighton. 5 minutes into the second half. A 4-point lead once again for Creighton.
Back into that zone. They're playing straight up now. Nobody chasing Wilson.
They've shut him down, though, Larry, in the second half so far.
So far.
He hasn't had many looks. He had 1 attempt so far and missed a 3-pointer. Petty running the baseline. Tough angle.
Tell you
on the 5-footer.
Tell you one thing Creighton's doing. They're not allowing Evansville any second shots. They're keeping them away from that glass.
Karlikonovas for 3. Yes! Biggest lead of the night for the Blue Jays. They're up by 7.
Karlikonovas only averages 7 points a game. He has been tough tonight.
Almost taken away with the trap. Keon. Free. Snow for 3. And he answers for Evansville.
What a great move that time by Keon. He saved the basketball in the backcourt, pushed it up front, got it right in the corner to the right man, right in front of the Evansville bench.
Back to a 4-point ball game. Craig Snow with the bucket.
Evansville still straight man-to-man. Karlikonovas with a nice screen out front.
Karlikonovas, the largest one on the floor by a few inches, asking for the ball inside.
Not many cutters for Creighton. They're operating one-on-one right now.
For 3, Haynes barely off. And only 1 try that time.
Yeah, good block out time by Hetty. Chuck Hetty in good position. Karlikonovas couldn't get near the ball.
They reverse it. Wilson was available early.
Trying to attack this Creighton zone. They work the perimeter. Good penetration. Good pass.
They're finding the low block regularly. Hawks, they beat that out top with the dribble penetration. Runyon on the run, and a three-pointer for Kyle Runyon.
Well, that's two big threes back-to-back. Runyon with one and Snow with the other one.
9 points for Runyon, 2 3-pointers for the young man who averages only 5 a game. The sophomore from Fairmont, Indiana. Carl Economist getting back into the play. They waited for the big guy.
It's the high wing screen there. Buford will use it.
Buford, one-hander. What touch from the holster.
Got it right over the top of him, too. Chuck Heddy right there trying to play defense on that guy. Tough to shut him down.
Starting to come alive, partner, like we anticipated early. 12 for Buford. Heddy, not exactly a guy that plays with his back to the basket. Runyon with a head and shoulder fake. Didn't get a break. Heddy couldn't keep it alive. And the break now for Haynes. Nice adjustment to the left hand.
Boy, how about that? Good hesitation. Allow the defender to float by and go up easy off the glass.
5-point lead for the Blue Jays. Keon trying to get the roll and does exactly that with a one-hand runner.
Is it running now? Type of game we expected to see in the first half has developed in the second half.
22nd timeout taken by the Purple Aces of Jim Cruz. Back to a 3-point ball game, almost 8 minutes in. We thought they'd get up and down the floor. Neither team known for their defense.
Yeah, in the first half, neither club shot the ball very well. The shooting, Evansville shooting 40% and Creighton only 33%. Both of these teams more capable than that.
So a 3-point lead for the Blue Jays. They'll have the ball when they put it back into play. And don't forget to join us Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern. It's the Women's Selection Special presented by State Farm. We'll announce the NCAA Tournament brackets. Fill in every slot. The women's brackets, their seeding. Then keep it right here. Following that show, the men's selection show at 6:30 Eastern. Join Dick Vitale, Digger Phelps, and Jay Billis. Top 64, the seeds in the men's tournament. The men's selection show, Sunday at 6:30 Eastern. Boy, tough time to fall asleep at all during championship week.
Can't do it. We've had stoppage in play now. Something's happened out here. Officials are conferring in midcourt.
I think they thought we were holding up play, but we were ready to go too.
Yeah. Now they are going to go. They're going to let us go now.
Well, we'll take a timeout with 12:09 left in the championship matchup. The emotions running high, especially on the sidelines.
Northeast Conference title game. A bid to the dance on the line. Mount St. Mary's with a steal against Central Connecticut State. Eric Bethel. Gregory Harris. Who's your daddy? Mount St. Mary's by 2. 10.5 to go in that one. Western Illinois trailing Valpo by 6. The winner of that one will get Oral Roberts in the Mid-Continent. Guys.
Well, Larry Conley has always said he wanted to be my daddy. We're at the Kiel Center in St. Louis. 12:09 left in the championship game of the Missouri Valley Conference. And a tight one. It was only a 3-point lead for Evansville at the break, and now it is a 3-point advantage for the Blue Jays of Creighton.
Purple Aces came back with a couple of threes, and I thought maybe they're going to get a little momentum going their way. Jim Cruz wanting some action from his club, and Creighton came right back. Dana Altman's team playing very well there. Good trap by Evansville, and they lost it. Went right off of Walker's shoe.
Quick double team, the trap on the sideline, and Ben Walker, one of the few mistakes we've seen from him. He's put together a real solid effort.
He has indeed. Both halves, in fact, on both ends of the floor. Creighton stays in that zone defense. They've used this a lot in the second half. 1-2-2. Actually, a 3-2. They'll float those guys on the wings down inside that paint area and trap out of this.
Marcus Wilson had it poked away. They'll call the foul with a reach from behind by Corey Brandon. But once again, just like the first half, Marcus Wilson has not been a factor early in the second half. Guess what? We'll come right back to the Kiel Center in St. Louis with 11:48 left in the championship game. Welcome back to downtown St. Louis. Joel Myers along with Larry Conley. We're at the Kiel Center. The championship game. It's championship week presented by 7-Up continues on ESPN. It's the Missouri Valley Conference. Blue Jays by 3 over the Purple Aces of Evansville. Championship week presented by 7-Up continuing Tuesday. We'll go to the conference title game of the Midwestern Collegiate Conference. Butler takes on Detroit. And then right after that, 9:30 Eastern to the Cajun Dome. Western Kentucky and Arkansas State. Evansville with the ball on the offensive end. Down by 3. Let's see if they can get Wilson going, who's got the ball right now. He's been shut out so far in the second half. The conference player of the year was a 20-point average coming in.
Trying to use that 2-3 zone right now. Always keeping an eye on Wilson.
Snow has Bagley kept it alive. It'll be chased down by Brandon for Creighton.
Once again, Creighton doing a nice job of keeping Evansville away from that basket.
Sears, what a great pass. And Haynes draws the foul. Sears had a clear path to the basket, but his thought process is pass first, shoot later.
So he's an amazing player. I watched this kid work out today, and he's one of those guys that just wants to give it up. Have you ever heard the term a selfish passer? I think sometimes there are guys that rather pass the ball than shoot it. He's one of those guys.
Kyle Runyon picking up the foul. Haynes missing the free throw. Petty taking over for Snow. So big change offensively there. They give up a lot of the offensive end in that substitution. That really puts the pressure on Marcus Wilson. As Snow has just picked up his 4th foul. They didn't give it to Runyon after all. It was on Snow, and that's what happened to Snow in the semifinals. Just about this time. Stayed out until the 3-minute mark of the game.
Once again, Buford on the point of this zone. Watch Evansville work that paint area. They'll cut somebody across there, flash them. If they're not there, they back out.
Marcus Wilson looking for the 3. He's only got 7 points. All 7 come into the first half. Bagley way out. Kept alive by Hetty. With Buford on his back, it's a jump ball situation. They're certainly letting him play tonight.
What a great effort by Hetty that time to go down inside and save that ball.
Rebounding margin belonging to Creighton. Ben Walker had 9 very early, 14 so far. And for Evansville, foul in the second half. They're starting to line it up from 3-point range. But Craig Snow, who's got 13 for the game, shut out. And he's going to stay shut out because he's on the bench right now with 4 fouls.
Once again, you'll see Creighton in that 3-2 zone. Buford on the point. He flattens out when the ball goes down into the corner.
Good interior passing. Went in, came back out. Runyon couldn't hit the 3. Keon with the penetration. Now Wilson. Good look at the basket. And he finally gets one.
Well, he did get a good look, too. Buford was late getting there. Good kick-out pass to the good shooter.
All even at 48 between the top 2 seeds.
Evansville in that man-to-man defense. Good cuts to the basket. Watch Swenson operate down in there.
Garliconovis playing a high-low game with Swenson. Swenson trying to force it in. It went out of bounds. It's going to belong to Creighton. And Dana Altman can't believe it because of the effort of Bagley, who was going after it like he touched it last.
Yeah, Evansville's going to pick this ball up. I think Dana Altman's a little upset with it.
Opportunity now for Evansville to take the first lead over the last 5+ minutes. Keon for 3. Very early in that possession, and Ben Walker, one of the top 2 rebounders from the guards position, along with Eric Roberson in the Missouri Valley Conference, coming up with another board. Buford very quiet as well. That running one-hander works again for Rodney Buford.
He did that in the first half. He had one just like that. Buford very quick into that lane area, releasing the ball.
14,
up quickly.
14 points, Larry. And he doesn't force it, does he?
No.
He lets the game come to him.
Exactly.
Does Evansville have an answer in this trip? Most of it's come from the outside for the Purple Aces in the second half.
Bagley has to come out and help Keon.
Sears, tough defense on Wilson. Shot clock down to 5. Runyon, will he recognize it? Yes. Had the easy one, and Garliconovis in his way just barely prevented the easy basket.
Made a nice move to the basket. Got inside, got to the paint area, and got just a little bit short on the shot.
Almost looked like he lost the handle on the way out. Buford for 3 this time. On target.
Between he and Walker now. If those 2 guys begin to line it up, Creighton could have an awful good night.
And at what point does Jimmy Cruz say, I better get one of my best offensive threats back into the game before it gets away? Craig Snow, 8:38 remaining in the contest, and a 5-point bulge now for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, you can see those Blue Jay fans who made the trek here all the way from Nebraska. They're a happy bunch. Watch Rodney Buford with this running one-hander right here. Good crossover, come back. Nice 3.
Quick release, scooping it up with the left hand. But the previous play you were talking about, that was a great-looking runner.
Well, it was, but Buford backs out right here. He's had back-to-back baskets, that running one-hander, and then that three. A good nod right there of the bounce of the head. Once you make the turn, stop and pull up. Anytime that defense backs off you that far, you've got to light it up.
So a 20 taken by Jim Cruz, trying to slow things down. Let's see what he comes out in the offensive set. You'd have to think Wilson's going to get a couple of touches this time down the floor.
Just now.
Wilson got Johnson out of position. Indecisive Runyon. Wilson, though, beyond the arc. Got it anyway with Donnie Johnson, the big guy, jumping out.
Is that amazing? Johnson was all over him. Walker was on him the other time, and he still got both of them in.
Back to a 2-point ball game. Buford does it again. Nice dribble penetration by the big guy.
He got doubled down that time on the baseline and still was able to get it up and get it off the glass. Buford showing the steal.
And here comes Buford. Back to back. Yes! With an exclamation point.
Rodney Buford showing you why he's the #3 scorer in this league.
.745 and counting. It's back to a 6-point lead. The largest of the game at 7 for the Blue Jays. That came just a few minutes ago here in the second half. For the most part, Creighton has dictated the tempo to Evansville tonight.
Wilson would like to take another shot. He's going to have to.
With the shot clock down, a little bit short. Guess who's got it again? Rodney Buford. Buford with 21 points already. And close to a double-double in the rebounding department as well.
That's going to be a push on Runyon.
Runyon picking up the foul. And that is going to send Ben Walker to the free throw line as the Blue Jays are shooting the rest of the way. That is the 17th foul.
So it looks like to me that Creighton has a little bit more confidence at this point than does Evansville. They've gotten a lot of good play out of Rodney Buford in the second half. I mean, not only on the offensive end, but his defensive work has been stellar. Been rebounding. He's done a little bit of everything for this club. And so is this guy, Ben Walker. Walker with a good first half with 9 points. Has come back with 5 in the second. He's almost doubled his season's average if he makes both of these.
It's the front end of the bonus. Earns the second. Way above his average. Came in 8 a game. But as I mentioned, coming off a career best yesterday of 23.
This guy's very aggressive on both ends.
The lead is ballooned to the largest so far for the Blue Jays of Creighton, trying to win the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament title for the first time since 1991.
In the studio with an update, Valparaiso has taken the belt out on the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. It's Milo Stovall with the drive. Nice move to the hoop. Valpo with a lead 66-51. The winner gets Oral Roberts in the Mid-Continent Finals.
Biggest lead of the game for the Blue Jays of Creighton over the Purple Aces of Evansville. It's up to 8 at 59-51. Well, in God and in Rod, as in Rodney Buford, they definitely trust him. He has taken over the game in the second half. Up to 21 points. Almost a double-double, and we still have 7:03 remaining. Joel Myers along with Larry Conley back at the Kiel Center, still waiting for Marcus Wilson to get it going into the second half. Buford going to sit down on the bench.
Well, what Evansville needs to do is get Craig Snow back in the lineup right now.
Mr. Consistency over the weekend here in St. Louis. Big difference in rebounding, though. Creighton with 35 compared to only 26 for Evansville, and that's really the difference to the second chances. Snow stepping out, but walking at the same time. A little shuffle before he tried to drop step it.
So it's a good call. Had the pivot foot, lifted it up, tried to turn face up. Jim Cruz is not arguing with it.
So a turnover for the Purple Aces. And now an opportunity for Creighton to really explode. 6.5 minutes left.
Watch Walker push that ball deep into that paint area. Nice steal by Evansville.
Marcus Wilson doing it at the defensive end. Wouldn't give ground. Wilson's there. Instead it'll be Snow. He's short, and Sears has got another rebound.
Joe, I don't know about that. Snow comes off of the bench, and 2 things happen. One, he walks. The second one, he takes a bad shot. You got to warm up a little bit. Get into the flow of the game before you get ready to do something.
Good point. You saw it was open on the right wing. Nobody close to it. Marcus Wilson. Showing patience at the offensive end this time, the Blue Jays of Creighton. But they've got to pick it up now. Shot clock inside of 10. Corey Brandon around Runyon. Karlikonovas almost got it on the other side as Brandon reached in, picked the pocket of Hetty, but they'll call him for the foul. That is only, though, the 4th team foul on the Blue Jays. Also the 4th on Corey Brandon.
Well, Dane Altman's Club's played a great game tonight. Terrific game plan. And they've gotten great efforts out of 2 guys. Ben Walker, one they didn't expect. Rodney Buford, the guy they did expect to do well.
Eddie was working the post. Gave up the dribble early. Snow was there. And Buford creates the steal. Yes, it'll go to Creighton.
Well, Evansville looks a little disoriented out there with their offense, their zone offense. Creighton's doing a nice job with their 2-3 or their flatten out 3-2. Buford out there to slap that one away, and once again, Creighton gets a turnover from Evansville.
A break that Hetty gave up the dribble so early in the corner, too.
Now Stanton knocked the ball out of bounds.
Karlikonovas, don't leave him alone. He'll shoot it from there. He wants to post up, though. Johnson free. And he draws a foul from Hetty, who was on the opposite side, left his man to double team Karlikonovas. Didn't get over in time. Good recognition from the outside with a snap pass in.
Once again, the good pass, though. That's exactly what made that play work.
Donnie Johnson going to the free throw line, the junior from Omaha. On his average already with 5 points so far.
Didn't have a point in the first half.
He killed Southwest Missouri State early, just simply getting down the floor for easy transition baskets. As Creighton in that game jumped out to a 15-6 lead. And every time Southwest Missouri State put together a run, they ran out of gas. Creighton took over once again to pull away and win by 8.
So it looks like Evansville's going to go with a small lineup right here. Hetty's going to head out of the game, and he's one of their bigger players at 6'8".
Clint Keon comes in, the freshman from Evansville. And 1 of 2 for Johnson at the stripe as Johnson will sit down. And Doug Swenson, 6'10", 200-pound senior, comes in.
Craig Snow on the floor right now for Evansville is their tallest player at 6'7".
Biggest lead of the night for the Blue Jays. Now can they maintain their composure, especially the defensive end. Good move by Runyon. And the blocking foul from Swenson, who just checked in. Runyon earning a trip to the line, and that's what obviously Evansville needs more and more now. With 4:56 left, opportunity to score with the clock stopped.
You know, Joel, oftentimes I think when you're facing a good zone defense, one that covers down quickly, collapses, then comes back and covers down on the shooters, you've got to be able to penetrate at some point. You've got to find gaps in that zone defense to make that defense come to you, which opens up other spots. Anytime you're working against a zone defense and you're passing the ball on the perimeter, you're not accomplishing very much. You've either got to cut through or you've got to make people go in there and penetrate deep in there to draw that defense.
Number 3 team in the nation in free throw percentage. Misses once again at the stripe. Kyle Runyon, 77% on the season, gets 1 of 2. Back to an 8-point deficit for the Purple Aces as Hetty takes over for Runyon. So plenty of substitutions.
Jim Crew's going to go with a little bit different look defensively now, a little full court pressure man-to-man.
Walker working against Clint Keon. Man-to-man defense from Evansville. They need to pressure the ball. Snow's got to watch it, though. He's got 4 fouls. Karlikonovas went right around him. He couldn't do a thing about it because he's got 4.
Reset the clock. Creighton gets another 35.
Swenson, what a size advantage he's got against Hetty. Sears, a rare shot. Tough break. What a play by Buford. He couldn't get it. And now the foul is going to be on the little guy underneath Ben Walker. Well, trying to take it away from Snow.
Sears would love to have that shot back again. I mean, that was a wide open 3 right on the baseline.
That is only the 6th team foul. It's the 2nd foul on Ben Walker. And now situational substitutions. Hetty, the better defensive player, sits down. The better offensive player, Kyle Runyon, comes into the game.
How about that? We're going to start doing that at 4:26 to go in the second half.
Why not? It's the tournament title game.
Creighton has stayed with his own defense pretty much the entire second half.
See if they get Marcus Wilson involved in the offense. He's been quiet for a long time. Trying to whip it back out. It's going to be a charge on Marcus Wilson. Over-penetrated, possibly.
How about Walker doing a nice job defensively to get his body set up to take that charge? Marcus Wilson trying to do something, trying to get something created for his offense. Watch again. Good move to the baseline. Oh, it was Swenson that took it. Oh, and he did take some punishment, too.
Second foul on Wilson. Swenson goes to the free throw line. Still the 1-and-1. It's the 9th team foul. Eddie and Runyon playing that yo-yo game. Swenson, solid free throw shooter. Better than 73%.
Don't say that. We've been getting them all night.
Senior from Halliday, North Dakota. Honorable mention, All Valley for the 2nd consecutive season. Also a member of their defensive squad.
I was going to say, read a great article on him about all the work he does on the farm up there. His mom and dad asking him to come in and, you know, lift the hay and do something with the cattle. He said when he got a chance to play basketball, they were not going to stand in his way, even though they could use the help on the farm.
I wish I had his weight problem. He grew 3 inches his freshman year, and as Dana Hoffman told us today, he's just a thin guy. He'll lead a lot. He just can't keep it on. A couple of huge free throws for Swenson, the senior. He wants that automatic bid to the NCAA Tournament. Biggest lead of the night for Creighton. Not a bad time to come up with it. 4 minutes left in the tournament title game. 10-point advantage. Evansville has gone cold, especially beyond the arc. And Wilson hasn't come up with a thing in the second 10 minutes. Snow. Tough break. Almost picked up a charge as well. And Buford, a double-double with his 10th rebound of the game to go along with 21 points.
Well, if I'm Creighton right now, I'm going to take care of this basketball. Nice pass.
Sears.
Brian Sears with a great look. Baseline cut, got it to Swenson.
Stanton was gambling. He went for the steal. Wilson for 3. And another rebound for Buford. Creighton can wrap it up with inside of 3.5 minutes left, leading by a dozen.
Buford's got to have a double-double by now.
Got 12 rebounds to go along with 21 points. Walker and Swenson, they can afford to use some clock.
Oh, yeah. They're not going to be in any hurry at all. And now Evansville's got to play straight-up defense, down to 10 seconds. No time to foul now. Oh, he fouled. Oh, he fouled.
With the shot clock all the way down. And you know Sears would rather pass than shoot to begin with. Keon with the foul.
Yeah, that's a situation you back off and force him to shoot out there.
10th team foul partner. That means 2 free throws the rest of the way for Creighton every time they go to the free throw line. Jim Cruz just can't believe the way his team has gone ice cold in the second half.
Some defensive Creighton's had something to do with that, though. They've done a nice job of shutting them off on the inside and closing down on the shooters outside.
And go figure, Dana Altman, the head coach for the Blue Jays, as Sears makes a 13-point lead, said, we can't play much zone. We try, we match up at a 3-2. He stayed with that 3-2 pretty well.
Well, his second half, it's all he's done. He told us today, he says, we're not very good on his zone defense. Yeah, right, Dana.
All Blue Jays in the second half. Sears looking for his teammates regularly, like Swenson, for a 14-point lead.
Beal with an update. Mount St. Mary's 12-14 in the regular season, trying to run the table in the Northeast Conference Tournament. Flying high, Melvin Whitaker. Jim Phelan under a minute away from win number 800 and a trip to the big dance.
14-point lead for the Blue Jays and 2:54 away from the big dances. It's that time of year where conference commissioners don't have any fingernails left, like Doug Elgin of the Missouri Valley. He feels like they'll get 3 in. Not an automatic. He knows that. But, Larry, they've done a good job of non-conference competition.
They have indeed, and this is also a very good league when you take a look at the fact that they are ranked 8th in the RPI ratings as far as leagues, only 1 point behind the Big 12. But look how close they are to the Big East at number 4. This is an awfully good league, Missouri Valley Conference. They got 3 quality clubs, Southwest Missouri State, Evansville, and Creighton, all 3. Very representative, and I think quality clubs should be considered.
It was a tough year just to play your regular season conference schedule as they get it inside, and the block. Sights rejected by Swenson from behind.
Nice job by Swenson. Well, they're doing everything right. Creighton has had a terrific game.
11-1 the run. They can extend it over the last 5 minutes. Well, Karlikonovich thought he was back in Europe. Wider lane and take a walk if you like. It didn't work in the Missouri Valley Conference. And when I bring up it was a tough year just in your own conference, there was 7 out of 10 teams in the Missouri Valley this year that finished the regular season better than 500. That tells you how deep they were in the Missouri Valley.
Dante, even Bradley reaching the semifinals, had an awfully good team. Jim Molinari did an excellent job this year.
No doubt they're going to be in the NIT. Wilson for three. Tough angle and real difficult look as well. A floater off balance. Buford, the man with the ball, with another rebound. What an effort by Rodney Buford. No doubt he'll be on the all-tournament team. If not the MVP of the tournament.
Absolutely.
Swenson from Walker. I don't want it, you take it. Karlikonovas with Swenson. Final 2 minutes of play. And finally, Seitz gets it.
Got to go with a three. Right now.
The three, they heard you, and Stanton hits it. No timeout, though, from Jimmy Cruz. Minute 40 left with the clock moving, 11-point deficit. You have to start fouling, too, because you're running out of racing room. Only 92 seconds left.
You can see Jim Cruz over there. He was trying to get Stanton over there as quickly as he could to commit the foul.
Sports Center is coming up next. Lakers looking for their third win under new head coach Kurt Rambis. Moves in the NFL, as well as the debut for Theron Fleury. He's a member of the Colorado Avalanche. It's all coming up next on Sports Center.
We have promos in the audience.
Walker hitting the first of two. And Ben Walker was the catalyst. Let's not forget what he did in the first 20 minutes of play. Creighton might have been down by 3, but it would have been a lot more had Walker not come through in a big way.
Well, Joe, you know those 20 minutes, actually, I think the first 10 minutes of the first half and first 10 of the second half. Keon with a good long-range three.
Makes it a 10-point ball game. Buford can pull it back out. Buford and Sears, both great free throw shooters. Karlikonovas. They need to foul. It's a game of keep away. Surprised that they're not fouling, or at least double teaming the ball. Sears on the trap, calls for the 20-second timeout.
Good move. He really got trapped in there. Stanton did a nice job. Seitz over there to help him.
Will it be a 20? It'll be a full. We'll come right back with a little more than 59 seconds remaining from an automatic bid for Dana Altman and the Bluejays of Creighton at the NCAA Tournament.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of Championship Week is presented by 7-Up. Are you an un? And in part by Kia. It's about time everyone had a well-made car. See your local Kia dealer today.
Looking for their first conference tourney title since 1991. The Blue Jays of Creighton, a 10-point lead of the Purple Aces of the University of Evansville. Joel Myers along with Larry Connolly as we continue with Championship Week presented by 7-Up. Coming up later tonight, midnight Eastern, West Coast Conference Final.
Dana Altman right now is thinking he's going to put the hands in the balls of the guys that can shoot free throws.
And Evansville needs some fouls right away.
Now they just got to play defense. Don't foul. It's down under 5.
Ben Walker. Stanton with the rebound. Where's the three? Bagley finding Wilson beyond the arc. Marcus Wilson. And if I'm not mistaken, those are his first points of the second half. 16 for Marcus Wilson. And the foul. Stanton picking it up.
Yeah, but it's Ryan Sears that's going to go to the line. That's what you've got to do. Make sure the guy that's handling the basketball, somebody like Sears in the backcourt, can shoot free throws.
Well, Marcus Wilson, that wasn't his first basket of the second half, but way below his average. You got to give credit for the defensive effort of the Creighton Blue Jays. 31 seconds left. Ryan Sears, 82% of the stripe this year. Gets the first. Academic All-District, 3.7 GPA. Like those stories. Freshman of the year in the Valley last season. Sensational sophomore season. 20-second timeout for Dana Altman. Just to keep everything in check in a 9-point ball game. A 3-possession game with 31 seconds remaining.
Can you say dance? Creighton, get ready.
Well, Creighton would love to go to Milwaukee because there's first and second round activity in Milwaukee and to be close to Evansville. Or check that, to be close enough for the people in Omaha. But as Dana Altman said, we don't care as long as we're there. They've been inspired by a young man, DJ Sokol, back in the Omaha area. He was a big fan of the Creighton Blue Jays, 17-year-old that's been undergoing chemotherapy treatment and Dana Altman told us earlier today, he's put everything in perspective for our whole team.
Take a look at Rodney Buford's numbers right there. 21 points, 13 rebounds. The guy's had a terrific evening.
3 threes needed.
Look how far out that defense is. They're playing way beyond the three-point arc. They're going to allow it too. They'll give up twos right now.
Wilson for 3. And Walker's got it to wrap it up for the Blue Jays. They can count it down in Omaha. Creighton is on the way to the NCAA Tournament. The Blue Jays of Creighton University celebrate.
And do they ever? A rush to the floor. Oh, what a happy bunch of Blue Jays. Oh, that's great.
They were phenomenal on the glass, out-rebounding Evansville by better than a dozen. Conference tournament champions for the first time since 1991, the number 2 seed, the Creighton Blue Jays.
Joel, it was a great evening of work this time. Rodney Buford got it done, as did Ben Walker. I really think they were the 2 highlight guys.
Our final score from the Kiel Center in St. Louis. The Blue Jays won't forget this one. 70 for Creighton. The Evansville Purple Aces 61. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. All part of the Go Network, go.com. For Larry Conley, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us so long, everybody, from St. Louis. Stick around, though. Sports Center is coming up next. Congratulations to those Creighton Blue Jays.